As he did with my child, I will do the same. I just ask to give me that Azeri, so as to do the same to him, as he did to my child. I will calm down as soon as I get revenge. I will never give him back to Azerbaijan. Let Garen's mother not be offended. Imagine, they did it with their son. I do not wish something like that on anyone, but I want revenge. Or else, the same thing will continue. They will break into our land, our homes, they will take our children and kill them. On July 4th, 2014, the Republic of Artsakh police received a report that Smbat Tsakanyan, 17-year-old resident of New Erkej village, disappeared. All police forces and volunteers joined in searching for the missing teenager. After 2 weeks, the boy's body was found in an impassable forest of a high mountain zone. On July 2nd, he decided to go to our home in Jomart. We lived there then. Smbat was my youngest boy. I was very close to him and didn't want him to go. But he insisted, said that there was no one at home. We kept in constant contact. He called me, asking what to bring from the store. On July 4th, the neighbors called us and said that the child was not at home. We got worried. My husband went to Karvachar. He saw the door closed, the house empty. On the night of July 3rd, the Azeris entered and kidnapped my child. Smbat stayed here overnight, and they took him from here. They took him in that direction, to the mountains, about 40 kilometers away from home. On July 4th, we got an alert that the son of the resident of New Erkej village, Smbat Tsakanyan, was lost in Jomart village. No one knew about the Azerbaijanis yet. Large-scale searches were held, to no avail. We had already started checking the lists of the people who left Armenia when we got the news that Azerbaijani were found in that territory. We arrived when Shahbaz Guliev had already been taken by the police and military forces. My wife went to go look for the calves. When passing by, she sees 3 strangers in military uniforms. Thinking that they are from our military unit, she asks, "Haven't you seen my calf?" One of them answers, "No." At the moment my wife notices the machine guns, and when passing nearby, she hears them talking Azerbaijani to each other. I met her on this road. She seemed already distracted by fear. She showed me where she met them. They spent that night in this building. The packets of the candies they ate and the pills they drank were found here. We immediately came here with my son. He's a policeman and already knew about the lost child. We approached and saw that 2 of the Azeris were running away. My son ran after them. They met on that bridge. One of them had already taken the shepherd's children hostage, and my son was trying to persuade them to set the children free and take him hostage. At that time, I managed to call the authorities. Suggestion that the loss of the teenager may be related to Azerbaijanis was proposed after the arrested Shahbaz Guliev accidentally stated during interrogation as if he had no idea of the boy's whereabouts. Only after that, the investigators had serious doubts that the saboteurs could be related to the disappearance of the boy. Later, the footage of Smbat Tsakanyan was found on the Azerbaijani's camera. Dilham Askarov comments, "We are already in the territory of Jomart village. When passing through this village, we caught a pig. There was no way to let him go, as he could betray us. He is about 20 years old. Today in Azerbaijan, we should fight against Armenians just like this. We met him today and took him hostage."
Իրենք անընդհատ մեզ շեղում էին ալողություններով, քանի որ իրենք հույս ունեին, որ
They were distracting us all the time, hoping that the boy will be torn into pieces by predators and that later identification would not be possible. However, thanks to the military, the child was found in the mountains, in a canal with numerous gunshot wounds. Shahbaz Guliyev's testimony. Dilham said that the boy wouldn't come with us anymore. I asked him why. He answered, "You are not worth that much. If you do not want to obey, you can leave." I stood up and went about 4 or 5 meters. Then I heard a shot, turned around and saw that the boy was no longer sitting in his place. He was lying down. When I approached the boy, someone said behind my back, "Do you feel sorry for the Armenian boy?"
Դեպքի վայրեզոնությամբ, որտեղ որ հայտնաբերվել է դիակը,
6 bullets were found at the scene of the crime, where the body was found, and 1 bullet in the boy's neck. The forensic examination revealed that the shells had been fired from a rifle, which was found on Askarov upon his arrest. The 6 bullets were found at the place where he shot Tsakanyan. Based on a combination of this and other sufficient evidence, Askarov was charged with the murder of Smbat Tsakanyan. According to investigation materials, on June 29, 2014, a group of Azerbaijani citizens consisting of Dilham Askarov, Shahbaz Guliyev, and Hassan Hassanov, who were armed, crossed the state border of the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic upon assignment of the Azerbaijani Republic's intelligence and broke into the territory of the Shahumyan region to collect state-secret information as well as other information related to the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. On July 4th, in the administrative territory of the Hafsatagh community, they kidnapped the teenager, Smbat M. Tsakanyan, using a weapon. On July 7th, the group's leader, Asgarov, intentionally killed Smbat Tsakanyan by firing 6 shots from a silencer. On July 10th, the press service of the NKR Defense Ministry reported that as a result of operative actions, an Azerbaijani intelligence diversionary group was found, one of the members of which, Shahbaz Guliyev, was arrested. Another 2 members, Asgarov and Hassanov, managed to escape. On July 11th, Hassanov killed an officer of the NKR Defense Army, Sarkis Abramyan, and severely wounded Garine Davidyan with a submachine gun, in order to hijack their car on the Vartanis-Karvachar highway. After driving 7 kilometers with the stolen car, Hassanov was stopped by the servicemen of the Artsakh Defense Army. Trying to escape, he fired a shotgun. Acting within the framework of self-defense, the soldiers fired back, killing Hassan Hassanov. On July 14th, the 3rd member of the group, Dilham Askarov, was found and arrested. Dilham Askarov was born on September 30th, 1960, in the village of Azizli, in the Gerarkunik region of Armenia, and lived in the village of Seif Ali, in the Shamkhor district of Azerbaijan. "Do not go to Karvachar alone, father." This is the title of the book released in Azerbaijan in 2011, authored by Ziadin Ismailov, who has been close to Asgarov since the First Karabakh War. The book contains quite remarkable data about Asgarov, referring to both his participation in the war and post-war acts of sabotage in Karabakh. The author of the book reports that Askarov has several nicknames, like Kurd, Partisan, and Grey Wolf. Dilham Askarov completed his military training at the Gara Aybat Training Center near Baku and led the detective group of raiding squads during the Karabakh War. The book contains episodes about Askarov's direct participation in the massacre of the peaceful population of Karabakh. Telling about Askarov's post-war sabotage, the author reports that he first broke into the territory of the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic in 1988, the second time in 2005, together with Guliev and already with a professional camera, the third time in 2007, and the fourth time in 2014. Askarov crossed the line of contact together with Guliev and Azerbaijani Special Services officer Hassan Hassanov. Shahbaz Guliev was born in 1968 in the village of Kapanli in the Mir Bashir district of Azerbaijan. According to some sources, on April 10, 1992, he participated in the massacre of residents of the Armenian village of Maraga, as well as other punitive actions against the population of Artsakh. Hassan Hassanov was born in 1978 in the village of Mehdili in the Jabrayil region of the former Azerbaijani Soviet Republic. He graduated from the military academy and had a black belt in martial arts. Hassanov was a participant in a number of diversion operations of the Azerbaijani army against Artsakh. Their biographical data have been deliberately altered in Baku, presenting Askarov, Hassanov, and Guliev as former residents of the Karvachar region, aiming to prove that the only motive for breaking the NKR border was simply the human desire to visit their homeland and the graves of their relatives, and that Smbat Tsakanyan was involved as a guide. Actually, only Asgarov's mother was a native of this territory, and only he had a formal reason for visiting the district. Here is his photo at his mother's grave. As you can see, the grave is completely preserved. Nobody destroyed or desecrated it, despite many claims of Asgarov and Azerbaijani propaganda. Undoubtedly, Asgarov was familiar with these places since childhood. This proves that the group didn't need a guide. Besides this, Asgarov and Guliev had visited this place many times before. The heartbreaking fairy tales of Azerbaijani propaganda are intended to evoke pity towards the experienced killers and saboteurs, whom Baku is trying to present as an innocent hostage. Asgarov himself convincingly denies that lie, accompanying the video recording with commentary, which proves the real goals and plans of both him and the whole group. We must secretly break into this territory, occupy positions, attack suddenly and instantly, take hostage all the people living in a quiet area, first the civilian population, and then the military unit located here. Thus, the murder of a minor Armenian by saboteurs on the ground of national hatred is a deliberate crime with aggravating circumstances. The content of the camera found by the group members, their weapons and ammunition, other special items, their combat past and contact with the special services, which are also confirmed by Ziadin Azmailov's book, prove that the group secretly invaded the territory of Artsakh for intelligence subversion purposes. A visit to a grave in no case requires such armaments. Multi-day hikes on different routes, video recordings of locations, and especially abductions and killings of people. The video filmed by the saboteurs is a military geographical description of the region, which reflects objects of both operative and strategic importance, as well as of national security importance. The detailed recordings of the crimes with the camera was a factual report of the task done and a justification of a generous reward. According to the letter addressed to the director of the National Security Service of the Republic of Artsakh, otherwise known as Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, The videos include a state secret. The possible damage or destruction of these facilities will complicate the state's protection and stability. On October 27, 2014, the trial of Dilham Asgarov and Shahbaz Guliev began in Stepanakert. They had been charged with crossing the state border of the NKR, as well as with espionage, smuggling, and illegal possession of weapons, theft, and kidnapping. Besides the above-mentioned articles, Asgarov was also charged with the murder. During the trial, the accused were provided with the services of an interpreter and a lawyer, and had taken the advantage of all the opportunities provided by legislation and international law. Under the weight of undeniable evidence, Asgarov and Guliev pleaded guilty, at least partially. The trial was open to public representatives, including human rights defenders and journalists from Armenia and Artsakh. The authorities of the Republic of Artsakh announced that there wasn't any obstacle for the representatives of the international human rights organizations and public figures to attend and follow the proceedings. According to estimates by human rights defenders, the whole process was conducted in accordance with the legislation of the Republic of Artsakh and the provisions of international law. I was Dilham Asgarov's defender, both during the preliminary investigation and during the court proceedings. I also defended the rights and legitimate interests of Shahbaz Guliev. I had the opportunity to meet them in confidence in a separate room, without an interpreter, and they could speak Russian. They presented me case-related issues, and we tried to resolve those problems from a legal point of view. We didn't have any organizational problems. Both of them were provided with an interpreter. There was an ordinary judicial process. The same would be in the case if the accused were citizens of the Republic of Artsakh or any other country. It received widespread interest just because they were citizens of Azerbaijan, which explains the wide presence of journalists in the court. I visit Asgarov once or twice a month. He has no complaints. Our republic considers that he committed a crime and should serve his sentence in the territory of Artsakh. It applies to any criminal, no matter if he is a citizen of Azerbaijan, Russia, or any other country. On December 29, 2014, the court issued a judgment. Shahbaz Guliev and Dilham Asgarov were found guilty of espionage, crossing the state border of the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic without the appropriate permission, carrying a weapon, and kidnapping a minor. Guliev was sentenced to 22 years imprisonment. Dilham Asgarov was also found guilty of murder on the grounds of national hatred and was sentenced to life imprisonment. The convicts served their sentence in Shushi's prison. The representatives of the International Committee of the Red Cross and the Stepanakert delegation regularly visit them. Guliev and Asgarov also communicate with their relatives via the internet. Representatives of the International Committee of the Red Cross regularly visit two Azerbaijanis held in Nagorno-Karabakh, inquire about their living conditions, and ensure that their relationship with their relatives is secured. From the very first day of the arrest of the saboteurs, Azerbaijan ran a powerful propaganda campaign, calling them hostages, and declaring that they entered the territory of the Republic of Artsakh exclusively for visiting relatives' graves. A defense committee was created for Asgarov and Guliev, and events were held on international platforms, aiming to persuade the international community to exert pressure on Armenia and return the criminals. Azerbaijan even organized Asgarov's son's application to the European Court of Human Rights. In July 2018, Karen Ghazaryan, resident of the Armenian border town of Berdavan, appeared in the territory of Azerbaijan under uncertain circumstances, where he was declared subversive, despite the absence of grounds for such accusations and despite obvious mental problems. Later, he was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. Unlike the open trial against Guliev and Asgarov, Ghazaryan's trial was closed door. Even the presence of Azerbaijani journalists and human rights defenders was banned. It isn't known to this day whether he had a lawyer or not. Just 1 month later, in August, another Armenian citizen, Arayik Ghazaryan, also appeared in the territory of Azerbaijan, under very similar, uncertain and unidentified circumstances. There is every reason to believe that they were both kidnapped for exchange with the saboteurs. Yerevan and Stepanakert have repeatedly stated that Askarov and Guliev are criminals and not hostages. According to international law, the convicted criminals may be transferred to their country of nationality to serve their sentence. Nevertheless, every such case is examined on an individual basis, taking into account many factors. In this case, in addition to the serious crime committed by the saboteurs, there are many other legal, political, and moral factors. These factors are inextricably linked to the national security of the Republic of Artsakh and the Republic of Armenia, against which Azerbaijan continues to wage a hybrid war. Moreover, the crime committed in Budapest gained widespread international attention when the Armenian officer Gurgen Margaryan, a participant of NATO's Partnership for Peace program, was killed. Late at night, on February 19, 2004, the Azeri participant of the program, Ramil Safarov, broke into the room of the Armenian officer and struck the sleeping Margaryan 16 times with an axe. In April 2006, a Hungarian court sentenced Safarov to life imprisonment, without the right of pardon for 30 years. On August 31, 2012, as a result of the deal signed with the Hungarian government, Ilham Aliyev returned the murderer to Azerbaijan, where his pardon decree was already ready. In Baku, Safarov was greeted with glory and was paid for the 8 years he spent in the Hungarian prison. Safarov's crime and all further actions of Azerbaijan reveal that Baku is guided by its own racist principle. Murder of an Armenian is not considered a crime in Azerbaijan. A campaign organized by Azerbaijan to defend and glorify Asgarov and Guliev is similar to the state propaganda aimed at defending and glorifying Safarov, and aims to set an example for the youth, already in the face of Karvachar's saboteurs. In seeking to return the saboteurs at all costs, Baku strives to solve several problems at once. First, Azerbaijan wants to prepare the ground for future mass infiltration of saboteurs to scare the people of Artsakh, to force them to leave and empty the border areas. Baku consistently strives to achieve its overt goal of occupying the territories of Armenian Artsakh without the Armenian population. Second, by presenting saboteurs and murderers as hostages, Azerbaijan continues the exports of anti-Armenian sentiment, Armenophobia, so as to form a new image of Armenia internationally as a state that violates international humanitarian law. Third, Azerbaijan tries to apply international humanitarian law for the criminals, thus distorting and preventing legal and moral standards. Fourth, by abusing international law and manipulating the public consciousness, Baku tries to ensure its own impunity and establish the right to continue the policy of threats, violence, and aggression against the Armenian people. Both Azerbaijan and the international community should accept the fact that the unleashed terrorism against Artsakh and Armenia inevitably leads to a stronger unity of the Armenian people, full of steadfast determination to defend the homeland.
Երբ որ դեպքը տեղի ունեցավ, որ դիվորսիոն խումբը մտել էր այստեղ եւ մեր հայ երեխային եւ մոկոկով ինչպես
After what happened with that child, our organization decided to provide permanent presence in the valley so that Azerbaijan realizes that we aren't scared. We will always be here, and from here on will be even more. And after this moment, there will be more of us. There will be more of us. We conduct combat training, train our youth, our compatriots, so as to always be ready to stop the enemy's offensive and to counterattack until we liberate our country as a whole. Let them never think that they can scare us with such criminal jackal-like behavior. We are on our land. We are its owners, and we are always ready to protect it.